Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 melee attackers in all of Loomian Legacy. So, this isn't just going to be a list about who has the top 5 melee attacks, this will also involve abilities, move pools, and also offensive typing. Because, you need to hit hard on a lot of different Loomians, so let's head right onto this list. But before we do that, we're going to do another giveaway, and this may just look like any ordinary Gamma Slugling, but this is a Rainbow Wisp Gamma Slugling. So yeah, you will have a chance to win a Rainbow Wisp. If you say Rainbow Slugling in the comments, Gamma Rainbow Wisp Slugling in the comments, you will have a chance to win this amazing Rainbow Wisp Slugling. So yeah, this is actually my first and only Rainbow Wisp, so yeah, it's quite precious. So yeah, Gamma Slugling. Let's head right onto the top 5. So, number 5 onto this list is actually going to be one of the hardest melee attackers in the game. It's Wrestling. So yeah, Wrestling has 130 melee attack with one of the best abilities in the game of Ace. This thing hits hard. This thing can absolutely destroy a lot of different Loomians. You know melee tanks like Obsidragon and Ventation? Even though you don't hit them super effectively, if you could get a bulk up off, this thing could absolutely chunk through your melee tanks. Let that sink in. It can chunk through your melee tanks. It also has stretch. You can run specialty boots on it. You can run driving's force. There's even ignorance so you can't get swept. There's a lot of different sets that actually run with Wrestling. But I'd recommend running the Ace Wrestling because it absolutely destroys teams. And you have Blaze Punch to hit Vesperatu, which also helps a lot as well. The only reason Wrestling is number 5 and not higher, even though it's one of the hardest melee attackers, is because of its offensive typing. Brawler, Fire. It doesn't hit a lot of Loomians in the meta right now. It struggles, actually. I mean, Bar Blast, Spirit types, Blowtox. Like, there's just a lot of... And plus, melee tanks in the meta can still wall Wrestling, and that's why Wrestling is at the bottom of the top 5, even though it's one of the hardest hitting melee attackers in the entire game. It's still amazing though, and that's why it's still in the top 5. Number 4 to the list is actually going to be Bork. Now Bork might have the lowest melee attack out of any Loomian on the list with 110, but it doesn't matter. It has Boast. And if it has a higher melee attack than the opposing Loomian, it will get a +1 boast. So, yeah, it can destroy teams. And the reason why this is higher than Wrestling, like even though Wrestling can probably hit harder than Bork, the reason why Bork is higher is because of its offensive typing. Pure Earth, offensively, is awesome. With Dark coverage, yeah, that's a way better offensive typing to hit a lot of different things. You can actually hit Spirit types neutrally with your Stab, which is just amazing. You even have Quick Pounce Priority, which helps a lot. And it's a lot better than Wrestling's Quick Pounce Priority because Boast increases your Quick Pounce, unlike Wrestling it doesn't. So it actually is a very powerful wall breaker. And this has been good ever since the game has came out. This has been a very powerful wall breaker from the very beginning. I have a video on Bork if you want to watch it. I think it's called The Loomian That Never Fell. So yeah, I'm going to have that in the link in the description. So yeah, Bork, one of the best melee attackers in the entire game. The only reason it's not higher is because it's kind of frail, and it also doesn't have the best speed tier without specialty boots. But despite that, Bork is still extremely dangerous. Number 3 onto the list is actually going to be Helvantic. Yes, Helvantic. And while it doesn't have an ability to increase its melee attack from the get-go, what Helvantic does have is extremely amazing coverage. An electric toxic type is amazing offensively. The only typing it can not really hit that hard is earth types, and even then, there are not many earth types in the game right now. So, it's only like Tyrex and Himber that can completely wall Helvantic. And while they're both Meta Loomians, if you can get rid of them, Helvantic can absolutely sweep your team if you're not careful. It has setup. It has amazing coverage. It actually has a surprisingly good bull because it has a high health stat. And if you get even just 1 KO, you can get that +1 aggressive boost. You can sweep a lot of teams. This thing hits extremely hard, and is one of the biggest threats. It's one of the best late game sweepers in the entire game. Has a solid speed tier, and that coverage, man. That coverage is extremely amazing. I think it's like top 3 in terms of coverage. I think the only 2 Loomians which are higher is Gargoyle Attack, and also the Ludrix. But other than that, this thing probably tops the rest of the game in terms of coverage. Only reason it's number 3 is because you gotta get a KO in order to get a +1 boost, but it makes it one of the most dangerous melee attackers in the game because of that insane coverage. That coverage is absolutely amazing. And if you get a +1, you could hit extremely hard. Number 2 onto this list is going to be no shockers because it's going to be Tita. Tita hits hard. It has 126 melee attack with Awakening, with a 120 power stab, and then a 90 power stab that can cause critical hits. Yeah, Tita is dangerous. This thing can chunk through teams, and I know what you're thinking. Toxic types. Toxic types resist all your moves. Problem is, there's only like 2 toxic types that can live multiple hits. I mean, Venolin can live multiple hits, and Helvantic can, but other than that, you can 2-shot other toxic types. Snagoop, 2-shot. Gobademic, 2-shot. Tita hits that hard, and with specialty boots, makes it outspeed everything in the entire game. So, Tita, extremely dangerous melee attacker that is extremely fast. It's definitely one of the best late game cleaners, and it's better than Helvantic, even though it doesn't have amazing coverage. It has that amazing power from the very beginning. You even have barter, so you can barter boots to something and mess them up. You bulk up to set up, Toxic Tail for coverage, and Tita is just a force to be reckoned with. It's definitely one of the most powerful melee attackers in the game. Even with Loomians like Toxic types and Nevermare and Harvesect, Tita can even poison. So yeah, you can even poison them, which also works out for Tita, which makes Tita one of the best melee attackers in the entire game. Although it's not number 1. There is one Loomian which can be utilized a little bit better than Tita's, and we're going to get to them right about now. But before we do that, we're going to talk about some of the honorable mentions, and we needed to mention Carolyn. Carolyn has an ability to increase its damage, and it has 137 melee attack. Oh, and amazing coverage, the boot, so it can pretty much hit anything in the entire game. The only reason it's not on the list is because it can miss. And boy, it misses pretty much all the time. In this clip, it misses back to back to back. If you can't hit the Loomian, you're not that good. So that's why it's only an honorable mention. The second honorable mention is Gargoyle Attack form, and yes, this has the highest melee attack out of any Loomian in the entire game. The only reason why it's only an honorable mention, though, because it doesn't actually do that well as a melee attacker. It's better as a range attacker and mixed attacker as it is as a melee attacker. It still has solid melee attack and can be utilized right, but it's better as a range attacker, and that's why it's only an honorable mention. The best melee attacker in all of Loomian Legacy might be a shocker because it's Cosmere Unleashed. And while this Loomian doesn't really have that best coverage, it can heal, it can set up, and has the ability called Surrogate. Surrogate is the kicker here. You can take other abilities. You can take Ace. You can take Appetite. You can take Total Eclipse. You can take Rev Up. You can take Specialization 1 move, which makes it one of the most utilizable teammates in the entire game. And while Cosmere Unleashed by itself would probably be like only number 3 on the list, and it can't really hit metal types as well, you can run Y, so you can hit those metal types. You could bulk up. You can run Appetite and dodge. You could heal with Slumber. And it's probably one of the best teammates with some of the meta Loomians. You could team it up with Obsidragon to give it resilience. You could team it up with Sorelli to make Appetite. By the way, Appetite Cosmere is absolutely broken. And you can get Ace, Awakening, Rev Up, and Total Eclipse, which just makes Cosmere one of the most OP melee attackers in the entire game by a long shot. And while you need a Loomian to be fated in order to utilize that Surrogate, once it does happen, that Cosmere Unleashed is sweeping teams. And that's why it's the best melee attacker in the entire game. So here it is. Cosmere Unleashed, the best melee attacker in all of Loomian Legacy. So yeah, if you want a Rainbow Wisp Slugling, say Rainbow Wisp Slugling in the comments below, and you will get a number, and you will have a chance to win a Rainbow Wisp Gamma Slugling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, me talking about the top 5 melee attackers. The range attackers version of the list will come soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all all later. Bye-bye!